The 2017 Cleveland Indians, in my opinion, are one of the most forgotten teams to ever step foot onto the field, and there were actually a couple of things about this team that were quite historic. Let's go talk about it. Before I get to the 2017 Cleveland Indians, let's go back to 2016. In 2016, the Indians finished with a record of 94-67 and won the AL Central Division. They were led by ace Corey Kluber, who finished third in the Cy Young voting, shortstop Francisco Lindor coming off a second place finish in Rookie of the Year voting in 2015. Jose Ramirez didn't put up quite the numbers like we see from him today, but he hit a solid .318 with a very good .825 OPS. Jason Kipnis hit 23 homers with an .811 OPS. Both Carlos Santana and Mike Napoli had 34 home runs. Overall, the Indians ranked 8th in offense, 8th in starting pitching, and had the 11th best bullpen in 2016. They did also make that big trade at the deadline, acquiring one of the best relievers in the game, Andrew Miller, from the Yankees in exchange for 4 prospects that included Clint Frazier, Justice Sheffield, JP Fireisen, and Ben Heller. In the playoffs, after making it through the Red Sox and the Blue Jays with relative ease, they made it to the World Series to face the Cubs. After a back-and-forth series, the Indians and Cubs found themselves in a decisive Game 7. Heading into the 8th inning, the Indians trailed 6-3, but after an RBI double from Brandon Guyer to make it 6-4, Rajai Davis would hit a game-tying 2-run homer off closer Aroldis Chapman. Eventually, Game 7 would go to extra innings, and an RBI double from Ben Zobrist and an RBI base hit from Miguel Montero would make it 8-6. This would be enough to hold off an Indians rally in the bottom of the 10th, and the Cubs would go on to win their first World Series since 1908. Heading into the 2017 offseason, the Indians had some players coming off the books, including Mike Napoli, Rajai Davis, and Coco Crisp. To replace the power production loss with Napoli, the Indians would go on to sign Edwin Encarnacion, who was an all-star with the Blue Jays in 2016 and was coming off a 42 home run season. They also signed Jose Ramirez to a 5-year extension, as well as Brandon Guyer to a 2-year extension. Now let's get to the 2017 season. In the first half, the Indians were a good team, but they weren't amazing by any means. One player that really stood out was Jose Ramirez, who they had just signed to a 5-year extension. By the end of the first half, he was slashing .332, .388, and .601 with 17 home runs and 48 RBIs. Overall, the offense ranked 6th in the first half. As for the pitching, the Indians were utilizing a 6-man rotation. Corey Kluber was dominating like his usual Corey Kluber self, posting an ERA of 2.80 with a 2.44 FIP and just under 12 strikeouts per 9 over 14 starts. Carlos Carrasco also had 10 wins over 17 starts at this point, while guys like Trevor Bauer, Mike Clevinger, Josh Tomlin, and Danny Salazar were providing meaningful innings, while Andrew Miller was still dominating out of the bullpen. Overall, the starting pitching ranked 5th in the first half. At the end of the first half, they had a record of 47-40 and were only up 2.5 games in the standings ahead of the Twins. The second half of the season is when the Indians really took off. After posting a record of 47-40 in the first half, they went 55-20 the rest of the way, which included a win streak of 22 games, an American League record. The offense was solid for the Indians down the stretch, as they ranked 5th overall in the major leagues. Francisco Lindor's bat really heated up as he hit .298 with 19 homers, a .366 on base, and slugged .563. Overall, he posted a 4.3 Fangraph WAR in the second half, which was tied for the second highest. Jose Ramirez continued to be solid in the second half, hitting .300 with a .356 on base and a .560 slugging. Edwin Encarnacion smacked 20 home runs, and Roberto Perez was playing great defense behind the plate. What really carried this team down the stretch, though, was the pitching. By the end of the season, the Indians starting rotation ranked as the best starting rotation in baseball with an amazing second half, and the bullpen ranked 2nd overall. Actually, what was amazing about the Indians pitching staff as a whole in 2017 is that it actually had the highest Fangraph WAR of all time. Literally, it was the best pitching staff of all time. Ever. No other pitching, both starting and relief pitching combined in the history of the game, was better than the 2017 Indians. Well, at least when it came to Fangraph WAR. By the end of the season, the rotation averaged a league-leading 3.39 FIP and a 3.41 xFIP, along with a 3.52 ERA. They also averaged 10 strikeouts per nine, about 2.5 walks per nine, and only 1 home run per nine. Corey Kluber, the eventual Cy Young winner, went 18-4 with a 2.50 FIP and just under 12 strikeouts per nine. Carlos Carrasco won 18 games with a 3.10 FIP and 10 strikeouts per nine. Trevor Bauer won 17 games with 10 strikeouts per nine. Mike Clevinger went 11-4 and a 2.84 ERA in his first full season. Even Josh Tomlin and Danny Salazar were really good at the back end of the rotation, with Salazar posting just under 13 strikeouts per nine and Tomlin making 26 starts with a 4.12 FIP. In the end, the Indians finished with the best record in the majors of 102 wins and 60 losses, the best starting rotation, the third best offense, and the second best bullpen. They would go on to face the New York Yankees in the division round, who beat the Twins in the wild card game. The Indians jumped out to a 2-0 series lead behind a solid start from Trevor Bauer in Game 1 and a grand slam from Francisco Lindor and a walk-off base hit from Yan Gomes in a come-from-behind extra inning win in Game 2. With the series heading back to New York for Game 3, the Yankees would get 7 shutout innings from Masahiro Tanaka, a home run robbing catch from Aaron Judge, and a 5-out save from Aroldis Chapman in a 1-0 win to stay alive in the series. In Game 4, the Yankees would ride their offense to help tie the series and send it back to Cleveland for Game 5. In Game 5, the Yankees, holding on to a 3-2 lead heading into the 9th inning, nailed the final dagger thanks to a Brett Gardner single to make it 5-2, and that was all she wrote for the 2017 Cleveland Indians. In the end, the Yankees offense simply just came through more when it counted than the Indians. They were able to match up with their starting pitching thanks to solid starts from Masahiro Tanaka, Luis Severino, and their bullpen was just nails in the final 3 games. When I look back at the 2017 Cleveland Indians, I'll always think of that starting rotation. A Cy Young winner in Corey Kluber, an extremely good number 2 starter in Carlos Carrasco, 2 very good young starting pitchers in Trevor Bauer and Mike Clevinger, as well as guys like Josh Tomlin and Danny Salazar providing valuable innings at the back end of the rotation. And of course, I'll always think of that amazing 22-game win streak that they put together. It was a magical team, and I think they had more than enough firepower to win it all that year. In the end, though, the 2017 Indians will always be one of the biggest what-if teams of all time.